Hello, Scott Rosano with Gigbuilder.com. This is episode number 104. We're going to go through defaults and options. From your main menu or your dashboard here, we're going to go to Setup, we're going to go to Gigbuilder Setup, and we're going to go to Defaults and Options. Here is where you configure Gigbuilder to run like you want your business to run. Firstly, we'll start with a type of deposit. Do you do a fixed amount? Do you do a percentage of contract? Pick whatever you do and put the number down here. If it's a percentage of contract, maybe you do 15%, put 15% in. If it's a fixed amount, maybe it's $250. It's up to you, however you want to do that. Deposit wording the same way. How do you want that worded in contracts? Where the client goes to pay things. Do you want it to say deposit or something else? Put it here. Invoice numbering. We do have an invoicing system built into Gigbuilder that you can use. You can use the unique event ID, which is generated every time an event is. It's a 8-digit character. You can go an incrementing number or a manual entry. It's up to you. If you start with an incrementing number, you start that number, and Gigbuilder will advance that with each invoice. We use the unique event ID. It's a lot easier. Transaction fees, you're allowed to charge up to 3% in some states. Some allow a maximum of 4%. We try to figure out some of those for you. Some states do not even allow them. This is when your client goes to make a payment, etc. You can recollect some, if not all, of the transaction fee. You pick the amount right here or set to do not use. Again, it's up to you. Travel charge wording, how do you want to word that? Again, that's displayed on contracts and some other issues, so make sure that's where you want that. Now we'll go to event defaults. This is how you're going to have Gigbuilder look. The first section here, or first 3, is all about the look and feel. Do you want a dark mode or default? Your admin theme, we have several different themes that you can use. Transparent's a very dark one. I don't know why we call it transparent, actually. And then theme colors. We're using the indigo theme here, but you can use whatever color you want. And that gives you quite a bit of opportunity to configure Gigbuilder to make it look just the way you want to. Now, default event template. Creating events in Gigbuilder, you can create a game show, a wedding, things like that. It depends upon how you do it. A full is pretty loaded, and that's for very complex events. We do default this anyway because you don't have to use all of it. Your basic slim down, and we'll explain that a lot more when we go into event generation, but just leave it at full for now. Your default event type, if you've created them, they'll be here. We did a wedding reception, so we're going to do this. This may be blank, and we'll get to that in another video on event types. Your default color code. Each event can be color coded. Different types you may use it for. For example, a wedding reception might be one color, and you might do nothing for a bar job or something else like that. Just so it's a little easier on the eyes when you're going around and looking through Gigbuilder. Just looking at the color can tell you the type of event. And again, it just defaults to white, and you can leave that alone for now. The default game show event. When we get into game shows, we'll explain that as well. I've got a couple of here. We'll leave that down, but that's the event type that you can use just like you can here. So if it's a game show, it'll pull that in by default. Your default overtime rate, so how your overtime is going to work. Now this also goes in different ways we can add these, but basically what you're saying is every hour I'm going to bill $100. And that's, again, up to you how you want to define this. And that is also used when you're doing event type defaults and estimating jobs and things like that. That can really help out. Your automatic contract date. If your event switches into pending, go ahead and put the date in that's the date that the contract should have been sent. It's just a helper, speeds things up because Gigbuilder uses dates to do a lot of emailing. Your contract due default days and balance due default days should make sense. As far as your default setup time, how many hours or how much time do you generally need on a system to set up? This kind of helps you with scheduling. This can be set in other ways too. For example, bigger packages might require bigger systems, might require bigger setup time, but it is kind of nice just to set up, give yourself an hour on each side. Your default start time and default event duration. Again, this is just going to come in as a default, and it's where you can start to make your changes. We've set them at 4 o'clock and 4 hours. You can change those to whatever you want. And again, all that does is help you get going. Deposit paid helper, same thing. Change the event status automatically. So if the client goes ahead and makes a deposit payment, have the system automatically book you or do whatever else or do nothing. Travel time to and from the event. Your setup and breakdown time, again, if you want to know where that is. And then we go down to default referrals, default duplicate event status. When you duplicate an event, do you want the status to be the same or change it to something else? Quite a bit in here, and we'll go back and forth through that as we go through the rest of the videos. Now, drop-down boxes, I'm just going to show you one or two because these are all over Gigbuilder, and this is where you can make things just a lot faster for you to select. And a lot of these you can add in the events, and again, we'll go over those. But like your referred by choices, here's a bunch that we already default. You can put whatever in you want to and add them. Again, when you go click the referred by, this information will show. And that's for quite a few things. So if you look down through here, there are quite a few different drop-down boxes that you can customize within Gigbuilder. And again, we'll go back and forth through these as we hit events and things. Now, some miscellaneous defaults. You might be in a certain city, but you may actually do most of your work somewhere else. So you may want to put your default city and state where a majority of your work is, if that applies to you. Open and edit mode. Some people have asked to do that. We prefer you don't, but that's your choice here. So I'm going to leave it no, because you can double click anywhere to go into edit mode. And there's things you can do in read mode that you can't do in edit mode. So it's very important that you get back here. View page default count. All your views that you're going to see throughout Gigbuilder, your pending events, whatever, they have a default number of items per page. This is where you set that. Link expiration. When links are sent out through Gigbuilder, links to a client or whatever else it is, maybe even to sign a contract, etc., you can set those to expire after a certain amount of time. Gigbuilder activity log. We do every day. Activity that happens is all logged up, and you can log them together. Do not log it at all or log individually by employee. Helps you see who did what, when, why, where, and how. Payroll, if you're figuring out how your payroll is, this basically does your gross pay, and you can determine how you want to do that and how you want your pay period to work, when your payday is, etc. And when we go through payroll on the video, you'll see this, and we'll come back to this as well. Your HTML editor widget. This is the primary editor that you want to use. I just suggest CK Editor because it's pretty much where we're using it all throughout 7 anyway. And then our full calendar. Our full calendar is on another page. We're going to come back to this, but basically what you're going to have on that full calendar, and there's your selections. Again, we'll come back to that. Now finally, down to meeting, appointment, task defaults. Default meeting time, we set to an hour, set to whatever you need. What do you want to call it? Meeting. Is it mostly all virtual, whatever? Select a default. It's just going to save you down again. Your default meeting location. If there's a specific place where you meet, we don't even have any set. We'll show those later. Meeting helper. This automatically appends additional information for the meeting description field. And this helps you so that when it creates Gigbuilder, when it saves as a little AI, and helps you figure out what's going on there. You want to include the client. When an appointment is created from within your event record, you may opt to automatically add the client. So that way, if you're in the client or in the meeting, your event, and your client says, I need a meeting, we set for Tuesday, you push a button, it creates the employee, it automatically includes them. This is your reminder messages when you want to send them, reminder text messages when you want to send them, a robocall if you're even doing those. That'll be a voice meeting announcer. You can just set that to none for now. Your reminders for your next actions when they need to be done. And as far as do you want things copied, next action description helper. This can put some more information on the description so that it's easier for you to see. These are all advanced, and when we go into next actions, we'll be coming back here to show you how this works. Sending reminders, daily summary email. Every morning, Gigbuilder will send out a daily summary email telling you exactly what's going on, along with links straight to it, so you can really work your day from the email, and whether or not you want to show your appointments in that summary email. After the event date passes on the meeting, what do you want to do? Do you want to archive? Do you want to delete them? How do you want to do it? Leave it nothing for now. And then default task type, just like meetings, shows that. And again, when we go through these videos, these are going to make more sense. And then your default employees. So you can set your default employee, again, especially if you're a single op, you're going to set yourself. So when you're done with all this and got through all this video, you're just going to go ahead and hit save. And save is going to take all that information you through it through Gigbuilder or reconfigure it for you, you can click back to the home screen here, and I'll see you on the next video.